Luther's Small Catechism with Explanation. The Black and Maroon edition, copyright 2017, from Concordia Publishing House. The Fifth Commandment. You shall not murder. What does this mean? We should fear and love God so that we do not hurt or harm our neighbor in his body, but help and support him in every physical need.
Question 62C of the Fifth Commandment. Second, we fear and love God by looking after the physical well-being of our neighbor. We do this by C. Treating our neighbor with kindness and compassion. 162, Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgive you. Colossians 3:12-14. Put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and, if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you. So you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. Read about Jesus' obedience to the commandments by his compassion of the hungry, Matthew 15:32, and his mercy to the 10 lepers, Luke 17:11-19. Colossians 3:12-14 shows how love is bound and is a bond of harmony. Matthew 15:32. Then Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion on the crowd because they have been with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat, and I am unwilling to send them away hungry lest they faint on the way. Luke 17:11-19. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was passing along between Samaria and Galilee, and as he entered a village, he was met by 10 lepers who stood at a distance and lifted up their voices, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. When Jesus saw them, he said to them, Go and show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. And he fell on his face at Jesus' feet, giving him thanks. Now he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus answered, Were not 10 cleansed? Where are the 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? Jesus said to him, Rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well. Colossians 3:12-14. Put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you. So you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. What does this mean? Treating our neighbor with kindness and compassion. That might be something that is kind of a buzzword in today's day and age, that kindness or compassion gets thrown around a lot, and sometimes they mean it in a different way. We're talking about biblical kindness and compassion, not kindness and compassion the world might have like a false kind of love or a false kind of tolerance, or, hey, just be nice to me and I can do whatever I want to you. That's not what this is talking about. This is talking about being kind and compassionate and looking out for the needs of the neighbor, even when the needs of the neighbor or the neighbor is not looking out for their needs. So they're like, I don't know what my needs are, but yet I, as a good neighbor, wants to take care of it. Kind of think of this like maybe an infant or a baby and a parent. A parent wants to take care of the needs of the infant or the baby, and sometimes the infant or the baby doesn't know what they need. Sometimes they do, because they're crying out in pain because they have a rash on their bottom or something like that, or they're hungry. Sometimes they don't, and so that's why the parent is looking out for their needs and being aware of it. Also, too, being able to supply kindness and compassion when they do vocalize the need, or when you see it, like, for instance, the Good Samaritan, where you see the person alongside the road, and he cannot help himself. He is going to die. He's beaten and bruised and battered, and he's left for dead. That is one where the neighbor can't speak. This is different than being entitled. And entitled means that you deserve whatever your neighbor is going to give you. They have to give it to you. So it's like if I stand on a street corner and I hold out my hand and I hold out a bucket, then I deserve money from my neighbor because I'm here. That's not really what we're talking about. Now, you might be able to be kind and compassionate to these people on the street, but there might be other ways to be kind and compassionate for their needs. So maybe their food, or maybe to weed out the panhandlers and truly give to people who have a need. And that takes some discernment. But I think just being aware of your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? Look at who your neighbor is in your household and in your family and work, and then just be aware of what your neighbor needs and try to maybe supply their needs before they even ask. Try to be kind and compassionate in everything you do.
The Lord bless your day as well as your week.